welcome to Tarot Talk Thursdays.
I'm Jacy Moonspirit.
I'm Sings with Owls. Welcome.
Welcome. Today we'll be doing a waning gibbous tarot and oracle card reading for you. So if you would like to have a free one-card reading pull from one of our tarot oracle decks that we have out on the table, we'll run through those later, and you can tell us which one you would like to hear from today.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. Number one. I'm not gonna read them all this time. We're just gonna draw them as we do them because it's a lot of cards. Okay.
Yeah.
So number one, A through C, helpful guidance. And the only one that's are those and those. The rest of them, that could be guidance or anything. Okay. Where would you like to start?
I think it's A, B, C.
Okay, let's do it. We got dream. And B. The Four of Wands. Pretty card. Very beautiful card here today. Okay. Number two. What do we need to shift? This one.
Earth magic. Hope everybody's having a good Thursday. Hope that this has been a nice, fruitful week for you and that your flow is off to a great start. If you're just starting your week now, there's no time like the present. Technically, there is no time but the present if you think about it from an animal perspective. Oh, a Susan.
Okay, so we got desert. And then what mindsets are holding us hostage? Let me go with this. Okay, the Spirit Animal Oracle. Blue like my dress.
Black like my son. Muscle, it's not black, it refracts colors.
Okay, we got an ant. And then number four, embracing self-acceptance.
Wands cards.
5, herbs. Herbs. Six. And 7. And 8, animal help. So I brought these, and those also have animals too. So you can choose. You want this or this?
That one.
This one.
Next week I want to mix it up on all the cards.
Okay.
Swap out. So it's like, I feel like it's medicine cards, but I know damn well I got 3 herb questions.
Well,
it's good to give everybody
I like knowing.
a message they can use.
I forget red clover exists sometimes. Maybe I needed those. You know,
Maybe.
it gives a really good cleanse. Just say, I say. And I did harvest some a ways back, and they're in an envelope somewhere, so I got fresh ones. Anyway, cat. And 9, messages from the moon. I know we only draw like cards once a week, so I guess I was missing the goddess cards and the earth cards. Sophia. All right.
Quiet out there.
So, helpful guidance, A, B, and C. Jacy's looking us up.
So we got golden poppy, which is dream. It's also known as California poppy, California sunlight, and cup of gold. I love that. The oracle property dream refers to the long history of the poppy's use as a sedative and narcotic. For hundreds or perhaps thousands of years, this plant has been associated with altered states of consciousness, memory, and pain relief. In a tarot context, one might relate this flower to the moon card, which speaks of dream states, exploring the subconscious, and finding the way through illusions. The Seven of Cups, with its message about getting caught up in wishful thinking, deception, or desire without action, can also apply. Dreaming, daydreaming, fantasizing, these are distractions, but can also be the gateway to achievement, happiness, and goal attainment. When I see the word dream in an oracle context, I often interpret it in a very positive way. How sad life would be without our ability to project into future or alternative realms. Like everything, dreaming is about balance. Let your imagination soar, but remember that we must not dream our way too far from the real world. After all, someone needs to feed the cat.
Interesting.
And we get cat. Just saying.
And is this crow? Or, no, that's a raven, right?
No. It's a bowerbird.
Okay.
Have you ever noticed the best things in life are the ones you had to put a little extra effort for? The hard work, the challenge to outdo yourself, the rush of seeing it all come together, and then basking in the afterglow. These are the sweet moments we live for. To know that you can rise above the ordinary and create the extraordinary is energizing. So yes, the Four of Wands has a lot to do with the effort we use to make our dreams into reality. You can think of this like planning a wedding. This is one of the traditional representations of this card. You're preparing yourself for a big event. For example, in the pagan calendar, in the Northern Hemisphere, on August 1st, we celebrate Lughnasadh, which is a Celtic sun holiday that represents grain harvest. It's one of our very first harvest festivals, and it is a big deal for people, especially those that are very connected to the cycles of nature, because it lets us know that we can expect rewards even as it gets colder. So it relieves a little bit of the stress because we know that what we worked so hard for will pay off. So I like this idea of putting effort behind making your dreams a reality because, as the Golden Poppy card said, you can't dream too far away from reality. You can't get so caught up in the ideals that you don't put forth physical effort to make them a reality. I wrote about this in today's Witchy Wednesday write-up, basically. You have to do some work because if the universe does drop it in your lap the way you think it's going to, it may not necessarily play out in the best way. You may not necessarily like the way that it falls into your lap because it might complicate the situation. So we move on from there to Parvati, and Parvati is a Hindu goddess of devotion. She is known as the wife of Shiva, I believe. And the stories of Parvati have a lot to do with her dedication and devotion to her beliefs, that if there was going to be peace on earth, she would do whatever it took to make that a possibility. She starved herself. She resisted water. She spent the entire time in prayer. She became very spiritual about what it is that she wanted to do. She got in alignment with that goal. She made herself reach enlightenment, and then she brought that to other people. So this is one of the examples of the Great Mother Goddess coming to us and teaching us that we don't have to necessarily look externally for vices or for ways to fill the void. There isn't a void unless we created one. And if we have the ability to create a void within ourselves where this dream will fill that void, then we have the ability to make that dream into a reality. If you know a method of making it work, isn't it kind of a good idea to dig into the concept of making it work instead of just waiting on it to happen for you? It's kind of like being handed the how-to guide on how to build a piece of IKEA furniture and throwing it in the trash because you can see all the pieces. It's IKEA furniture. It's not got the greatest reputation for being easy to assemble. So, on to number 2.
Number 2, what do we need to shift? And so we drew desert and vision quest. It is time for you to go on a vision quest. Designate a place in nature in which to dwell, whether for a couple of hours or a few days. Spend the majority of your time while there praying and meditating. It is time to be in a location where you can truly find solitude, even if it is in a quiet corner of a park for an afternoon. Wherever you go, take your question, concern, or challenge with you into prayer or meditation. Allow it to float around in your consciousness and watch what shows up. This is one of the more powerful cards. By drawing it, whatever other messages you may have received are amplified threefold.
Only 3? Okay. I can do threefold.
Okay. So then we go to number 3. What mindsets are holding us hostage? And we drew the ant. When ant spirit comes to visit, it's to celebrate the benefit of working in a partnership with others as part of a community or tribe. Spirit reminds you that to build your dream, you need to work with others, accept help, and trust in the most important partnership, the one you have with Spirit. Your intentions will come to fruition if you remain awake and focused on co-creating your reality with others and with Spirit. Remember that the world around you can easily seduce you if you don't have some sort of practice or discipline like meditation to keep you on track as you build the life you desire. Connection with others and having accountability partners can be very helpful. It's unlikely that everyone will fall asleep at the same time. Okay. So then we come to embracing self-acceptance. And we got 9 of Wands.
So the 9 of Wands has a lot to do with basically the way we set up a boundary. So we create a boundary to make sure that we don't get hurt, right? The way we make those boundaries makes all the difference. Because if we isolate ourselves from a challenge, we don't accept the blessing of walking through that and learning about how we react to that, what that feels like, what we're actually going through. We reject that information. By rejection as a way of creating a boundary, this can be useful in a lot of situations, but in some situations it's not always called for. If you refuse the help you ask for example, you've kind of shown bad form and a lack of grace. So there are ways to go about doing things properly, and there are ways to go about doing things that don't harm others. And then there's the way that our ego mind tries to make us react because it wants to stay in a cycle. It can predict, it can control you there. And if you are like us, you try to not separate yourself entirely from the ego because we still need balance, but you try to harmonize. You try to come back to an enlightened state of harmony and say, maybe that was a little extreme, and I could just say, not tonight, maybe another time. Sometimes that's all it takes. It's just a little readjustment and being flexible because we got goat medicine to go with it, or ram medicine to go with it.
Ram. I love it.
You can charge. You totally can, but it's not always the most peaceful way to do things. Okay. It gets things done, but it's not always the most peaceful way.
So the next 3 are herbs, and I just wanted to see what they were telling us.
Sure.
And so
it's interesting that they all start with C.
Yes.
We've got, well, no, they don't, but chamomile, foxglove, clover. That sounds like a spell.
We got a CFC.
Okay. The oracle property soothe, chamomile, reminds us to care for ourselves and others, especially in times of stress or difficulty. No matter what problem or decision you are facing, a calm and thoughtful mind will always help you move forward in the best way. This property may also indicate that now is not the most prudent time for a confrontation, breakup, or change. Sometimes unruffling your or other people's feathers can calm a situation that looked like it was headed for confrontation. Diplomacy is often the best strategy.
Yes. And on to foxglove. This is such a beautiful plant. Isn't it?
The oracle property for foxglove is connection. This quality is inspired by the many folkloric associations that surround this plant and its relationship with magic, fairies, and the unseen realm. Foxglove is a wonderful addition to a garden and is valued for its height and lovely color. The flowers are also pollinator attractors that benefit adjacent plants. Additionally, this interesting plant is connected not just to the health of other plants but also to minerals in the ground. You can often find foxglove proliferating in areas that have iron, tin, or coal deposits. This magical plant is associated with the planet Venus and with the Empress Tarot card. In an oracle context, the word connection can be speaking of your relationship with a person, a community, or even yourself, your history, your subconscious, your physical body, your dreams. Are you feeling isolated or cut off from someone or something? Remember that much like a garden, connections require care and tending. If you are feeling disconnected, try taking action rather than waiting for things to come to you. Reach out to a friend, find a way to contribute to your community, ask someone out for coffee. At times, we can feel disconnected from some aspect of ourselves, for example, our creativity or our sexual selves. Again, these are the connections that require work and space to flourish. If our time and focus are turned toward professional advancement or entirely consumed with caring for others, our wholeness as individuals will be compromised. Remember that you are at your best when healthy, happy, relaxed, and fulfilled. And this can only happen when you make the time and space for each part of yourself to grow.
Beautiful.
So, how do we make it grow? How? We nurture it. So, clover. Clover is a wonderful plant with sweet-smelling blossoms that are widely useful to humans, honeybees, and grazing animals of all sorts. Even the soil in which clover grows benefits from it as a nitrogen fixer. That's 2 nitrogen fixers. Interesting that we're seeing things that are elements of our atmosphere in the same week.
I'm liking it.
I'm enjoying this.
It's very
It
interesting.
also restores the ground between plantings for other crops. The oracle property of this plant is nurture, as the tender sweetness of clover can remind us of how to nurture those around us and can also apply to the care and tending needed to sustain our own ideas and projects. Some situations in life require discipline, tenacity, and a strong will, and others can only be brought to fruition with encouragement and kindness. In the tarot deck, the Queen of Pentacles embodies the nurturing sweetness of this plant, and the Four of Wands, shows us the joys of a harmonious home and family.
Beautifully led together there. And number 8 was animal help. And we got the cat spirit, which says, claim your independence. When cat spirit meows, she is calling you to claim your independence and allow for some space between you and others in your life. The only way you can grow in your all relationships now is to have a healthy sense of self-respect and self-worth. When you walk with dignity, knowing who you are, self-aware and willing to grow, trusting the value you bring, the world will mirror all this back to you in kind. When you say no to codependency and enmeshment, live and let live, and practice taking risk as you wander into new territory for you. Cat spirit rejoices. She is here to urge you to let your independent spirit roam free. And I did not know that it said enmeshment in this right here. We have studied it a little bit.
I was thrilled with that. What was the question again? One more time.
That was just animal help.
I love that. Know where you start and the other person stops.
Yeah.
That's what enmeshment teaches you. So,
interestingly enough, messages from the moon, and that was the cat. Sorry. Got to show you that. And then Sophia, divine.
So I actually got to brag about this goddess to one of my coworkers whose name is Sophia. So shout out to Sophia. I got to tell her about how Sophia is a Gnostic goddess of wisdom and matrimony and family. So it's interesting that we see her show up in cards like the Vision Quest and the Nine of Wands and Parvati and even the Four of Wands, because we as divine beings have been working to build the divine feminine back up, because we know that she's taken several hits over the past millennia, or 3, 5, 7, however many you want to go back. As she reawakens, we have to encourage her We don't just have to feel her out. We don't just have to dig into our emotions and get to know those. We also have to tap into the aspect of the divine feminine that's very much like Freya. Okay, Freya is not only the goddess of love and sex and romance, she's also the goddess of war. And I like dualistic goddesses like this that pop up in different pantheons because they're not just fit into one box. Like, she's not just a beauty queen. She's a beauty queen that can take you down a peg. She's a beauty queen and she's got a brain. She's got an eye for strategy. She knows when the window is opening up. She knows what's going on around her. And I think that the teaching of Sophia specifically has to do with tapping into that part of ourselves that we already awakened as spiritual beings, that we already tapped into because we know we have the right to dignity and respect and privacy and just belonging. We have the right to belong in this space. Otherwise, we would not be here. So as divine beings, it is imperative for us to learn how to tap in when it's important to tap in and check ourselves and say, look, this boundary has to be here for a reason, but this boundary might have to shift depending on the situation. The way I communicate with people might need to be a little bit more transmutable, because you wouldn't talk to your partner the same way you would talk to your coworker. You wouldn't talk to your coworker the same way you would talk to a stranger. You know, you have different levels of communication for different things. How are you communicating with yourself and your environment and your dreams? Guys, how are you doing that? Is it in a way that nurtures you, or are you waking up every morning and hearing the words come out of your mouth, oh my God, I feel like crap. This is just going to be a crap day. Like, you just canted yourself twice. Now you got to find 6 positives to balance that out, 3 for each negative. Practice that as a communication for yourself. Tell yourself you can, and then do something about it every day. That is the teaching of Sophia. That is the divine wisdom. She says, I got this. I know what to do. I'm going to get it done.
Okay. That being said, lovely. So hello to JK. Hello to Casey. And JK said she wanted a witch tarot, please. So we need to take a picture real quick. And then Casey, if you want a card, do you have a choice? And Jacy will tell you what we have with Earth books.
So I have the Hedge Witch Botanical Oracle, the Animal Totem Tarot, the Goddess Power Oracle, the Earth Magic Oracle, and the Spirit Animal Oracle on the table today. If anybody would like to request a specific deck, JK, if you don't mind, I'll go ahead and pull you that tarot card, but it'll come from the Animal Totem Tarot, if that's okay with you. I'm going to take this picture real quick.
I'll give you some fire.
Appreciate it. So for those of you who are listening, we do light smudge in between readings so that we can cleanse the area of any weird energy in between. You do this a lot after like arguments and things like that. And some people do still like to buck when we, throw some truth out there to the universe. But
while we're doing that, we'll play this.
why would they buck, you say? Because they haven't found the chuck-it bucket yet.
Well, the hurt person inside of them still hurt. They don't know how to not be hurt.
It's okay.
So reach out.
Fix that.
Casey says go with it.
Sounds good.
And Casey said witch tarot.
She said goddess tarot.
Oh, sorry, I saw witchy tarot
Okay.
up above.
Now, thank you very much.
Hello there.
Yes. Okay. JK.
There she goes.
It's a jumper.
Mm.
Got one
There
of those
she is.
jumpers.
Found you. So you got the Wheel of Fortune, which is interesting because she's come up a few different times this week. I think the Wheel of Fortune, in your case, JK, has a lot to do with noticing what you put in, or intentionally even putting certain energies into the universe. I think this has to do specifically maybe with your money or just your general amount of energy. So to break it down a little bit further, if you're giving 100%, you should be receiving 100%. If you're receiving less than 100% from whatever the effort is that you're putting all of yourself into, maybe you need to take a step back and re-examine. Maybe you can delegate some of that 100% out to different arenas in your life so that you get maximum coverage, I guess you could say. So maybe in your day, you spend certain amounts of time doing specific activities, and you include time to rest. You include time to do things that enliven your spirit, get your creativity flowing. Because basically, you can't work all the time. If you work all the time, you burn out.
Might I add to that just like you're saying, if you're given like this much and then they're only given this much, that's where some of the blocks come in when people get blockages, is because they're not receiving what they're putting out.
Exactly. I would also say that it is a wheel. And so when you are putting in a whole bunch of energy, sometimes you do have to wait a bit for it to come back around. You can apply the metaphor of water to this. What phase of the water cycle do you see yourself in? Are you frozen? Are you fallow? Is everything dried up? Is it pouring? Are you going through a really big emotional flood right now? Are you getting a lot of psychic energy through your dreams? Pay attention to the way the flow hits you. See where you're at and see how you can best rise above so that you can swim instead of sink. Hope that helps, JK.
Right.
And then Casey has a Goddess Tarot. So we have the Goddess Power Oracle deck on the table today. This is the difference between your Goddess or your Oracle and your Tarot decks. If you look, this is a Tarot deck. This is how big a Tarot deck is. It's quite large. It's 78 cards. And then this is our Oracle deck. So it condenses things a little bit more, gives you a slightly smaller lens to look through, but gives you just as potent of an answer. Uzume.
Yeah.
So, thank you, Muchly. You're welcome, Muchly, JK. So, Casey, Uzume seems to want to tell you that you need to find humor. And finding humor happens in a lot of different ways. For us, we like to take it really, really easy sometimes and watch a comedy. Watch a comedy movie. Make yourself laugh. Or at least give yourself something to smile about, whether that is taking a walk in nature and noticing that the flowers have started to bloom, or finding a feather on a walk, listening to your favorite podcast, or to a really weird song that just makes you want to get up and dance. Things like I Like Big Butts. It's kind of weird. It's a little bit of a morally objective issue, but you get up and you dance to it anyway because it's just one of those things where you remember a time where you were silly and you just did things without having to think about them all the time. This is where accessing your inner child in a meaningful way and intentionally allowing yourself to play really comes in handy. Do things like laughing yoga, where you just make silly poses and little patterns and you giggle because it's good for you.
Very good. Very good. Yay!
Very good. Very good.
Yay!
Very good. Very good.
Yay!
That is actually a laughing yoga exercise. You can look those up on YouTube. There are plenty of beginner things that you can do that you can find on YouTube. It's very easy. And also, not only does it relieve stress, but it can melt years off.
Mm-hmm.
Helpful little tip for people out there in the universe that want to look younger or feel younger. Laugh more. It's good for you. It's good for yourselves.
For the weekend.
And your body doesn't know the difference between fake and real laughter. So make it happen, guys.
Laugh about yourself. Laugh with yourself.
Laugh at yourself if you must.
Have fun with it.
So woof. We got woof. Just means cool card. I like it. I think I was covering the wolf the whole time though. Hope everybody can see that. Nope. Aren't they in alphabetical order?
You have lost touch with your instinctual sensitivities. Get on this camera. It is the result of cultural and or religious prescriptions dictating that anything wild and instinctual is threatening and therefore has to be controlled or eliminated. Now is the time to overcome this limited mindset and tune into these instinctual cues. Let the spirit of wolf be your teacher and call upon this benevolent being for help identifying what those specific cues are saying. Shed some of your inhibitions with the only guideline being to do no harm. Experiment with getting out of the straitjacket of familiar societal norms and listening to those sensations in your gut that are trying to give you a message. It may be a warning of urging to take action of some sort. Take some deep breaths and simply notice what your bodily sensations are telling you. Your mind will be the receiver of that information, and your body and mind can learn to work more closely with each other once again.
So, welcome to Philly Fuck.
Filthy fuck.
Filthy Fuck. That's what that says. It's
Yes.
spelled with PH.
I
So,
see that wrong
Yes,
here.
that is my
pardon my French pronunciation
That is my
of
friend.
this name.
Hello.
I can call them Filthy Fuke.
All right. If you would like a free card, please let us know and we'll pull you one.
Hi, Anna. It's nice to see you
Hello.
again. It's nice to see everybody. It's nice to hear from the peoples. All right. Any requests?
All right. Well, I hope you have a great weekend. Check us out for the coffee clatch in the morning or sometime tomorrow
Yes.
before the afternoon.
Yes.
I like to do it with coffee, but sometimes it ends up with tea. But it's fine. It's still the coffee clatch, and we do what we do.
It's Coffee Clutch because it's awakening and it's enlivening and it's enlightening. So you should check it out.
And very healing.
It is very healing. We do a lot of beautiful meditation work. We do a lot of Reiki work. We do some grounding exercises and things. So I have always seen humor in life and often chuckle at inappropriate moments. Oh, well. I'm
Good
the person
job.
that laughs at the dead person at the funeral. I am, because the person that's in the box is not the person behind the box blowing raspberries at the people that didn't show up while they were still kicking it. And I like to laugh at that because I'm just irreverent sometimes as well. Peace and blessings, everybody. We will see you tomorrow.
Peace and blessings. Have a great weekend, guys.